And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and the Starcom Radio Network. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV, and our main website where you can listen to the X Zone 724 365 is www.xzoneradiotv.com. A couple of things before we get to my first guest this hour. Number one, X Zone Nation. On September 30th, between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing a debate between Stanton T. Friedman, the great-great-great-grandfather of ufology, and Michael Horn. The topic of discussion, the Billy Meyer case. That is Wednesday, September 30th, from 8 p.m. Eastern until 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Radio Show, heard exclusively on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Starcom Radio Network. Speaking about Starcom, give a listen to my good friend Ed Till, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. right here on the Starcom Radio Network, www.starcomradio.network.com. Exonation, my guest this hour is Kimmi Jae Belanger. She is an organic solitary witch, but she didn't always know that. It took years of studying and stumbling and at times even denying her paths overlapping, a few dead ends. She finally found the people she felt she belonged with. That's really when magic started. Once finding where she felt she belonged, she took everything she picked up along the way, adding her Native American heritage, which is really embedded deep within her, created her path into being the authentic self. Her craft is simple and not very dogmatic. Her rituals are her own, her theories are her own, because no one else can tell you how you should feel and feed your soul. Her only god is Great Spirit. Her only goddess is Mother Earth, honoring the four elements that without one could not live. Being a strong empath, intuitive, sensitive, sometimes life can get erratic, but also manifests her strongest magics to help others. Fascinated with subculture and the occult, she's been accepted in circles and has made some amazing friends with her, with the likes of vampires, Therians, Satanists, of just about every variety. Joining me now is Kimmi Jae Belanger. KJ, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you so much for asking me to come on.
My goodness, you've done a lot, my dear. Tell us what that quest was like, trying to establish who, what, when, and where you are, and how you came to be an organic solitary witch.
It was one crazy ride. It took me years, literally years and years and years, to figure out what was, quote unquote, wrong with me, I guess would be the best way to put it. Like you said, I'm the simplest of witches. I am not very dogmatic. I'm not into 1,000 different rituals and I have to do this on a certain day under this certain moon or anything. I do what feels right for me, which I kind of feel that a lot of people that are trying to find their authentic self, whether it be a witch or any belief system, really, they get tied up in a lot of these rituals and they feel like they're doing it wrong. And I'm here to say that I've learned that you really can't do it wrong. If it feels right to you and it gets you where you want to be, then you're doing it right. You're doing it right for you and what's right for your soul. It actually took some metaphysical people that I've met along the way to tell me kind of what I was. They said, you know, Kimmi, quite honestly, what we're hearing from you is much like you are just kind of, the best way to explain it, like if you're psychic, you are simply just psychic. It's not really anything that you decide to do and you learn. It's just simply what you are. And I kind of got that from my mother. Like I said, she was Native American.
Yeah.
she told me all these stories of, the gods and Mother Earth and how you should, respect the earth and, everything is energy. And so the more you talk to people in the metaphysical world, they say that sounds very much like being an organic witch.
Now,
So,
I have to ask you at this time.
Sure.
What is organic when it comes to witchcraft? Like, I've had members of the Wiccan Church on before. I've had solitary witches on. I have had white witches on. I've had witches from covens. But I've never heard the expression organic. So how does this relate to witchcraft?
Well, simply because Wiccan is a religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you want to learn. So you research it. It's much like going to a church.
Yeah.
You go there, there's a high priestess or a high priest, and you, not always, but most times have a coven, unless you're a solitaire, but it's a belief system, and it's something that you learn. An organic witch is simply that. It is organic. It's what you are. You have to kind of accept that, these things within you, there's nothing you can really do about it. They are there.
Gotcha. So basically anything goes.
You kind of learn and craft your own craft. Nobody's going to tell you how to do something. No one's going to tell you how to do a ritual. Nobody's going to tell you that you're doing it wrong. It's whatever resonates and is right and works for you.
As incorporating the Native American culture into your witchcraft, is there such a thing in the Native American traditions, folklore, or mythology as a witch? I mean, besides the witch doctor that everybody knows about, or is this something that, once again, it's because you're a organic solitary witch that this can be incorporated?
Exactly. You can incorporate whatever you like and whatever feels right for you. Luckily, I had my mother that was Native American,
Right.
and she did a lot of natural holistic healing things. We never went and got our medicines at the store. She made them.
Right.
So it was kind of like that. But oddly enough, that's not where I got my witchness from. I believe my mother was almost like my counterbalance from what my father actually gave me.
And what was that?
Now this is very odd because I always thought it was my mother.
Right.
Teaching me all these things. She was very spiritual. She, told me about, all these Native American, gods and Mother Earth and all this stuff. So I thought, wow, I'm getting this from my mother. That's fantastic. When in all actuality, as I was doing my research and finding out, my father actually had even though he was Roman Catholic, there is paranormal throughout his whole family. And there were many psychics and many empaths and many darker elements in play. That's where all this was coming into play, because everything I was experiencing wasn't necessarily lovey-lighty, shamanistic healer stuff. I was getting some pretty dark things.
Such as?
In my family, many people have experienced what they thought were demons. They would wake up, and a few people in my family have woken up and have actually seen shadow people or what they deemed as demons at the foot of their bed at night. They felt that they were getting attacked. And I actually started kind of getting intrigued into the darkness. And it's very alluring and almost intoxicating and very powerful. So you kind of have to be careful. But I was finding myself being drawn to that a little bit more. So I kind of started, it's bad, I know, but I started kind of researching that more than the lovey-lighty stuff.
So why would somebody go towards the dark instead of going towards the light?
It's very powerful. It's exhilarating. You feel, for lack of a better word,
empowered?
Empowered and immortal, and it's very dangerous, actually. And it was only until I learned to balance the two out and got stung a few times that I learned the valuable lesson that everything is about balance.
So here you are. What was it like growing up, going to school? Were you constantly being torn on the inside because you had all these different ideas and thoughts than your school classmates did? How did you How did you cope with that, hon?
Absolutely. I thought I was normal within my circle, within my family, because that's all I knew. But then as I started, like you said, going to school and meeting people, and I started to realize that I wasn't so much like the other kids. These other kids didn't feel spirits around. These other kids didn't see shadow people or, kind of feel these different kinds of magics, for lack of a better word. I felt like I could not really read people's minds in the sense that I knew exactly what they were talking about, but I knew what was going to happen next. And I knew how they were going to react next. And I kind of knew that even a couple of days down the line, this was going to happen, and it did. And then I started to realize other people don't do that so much. And that it really makes you feel like a freak as a child.
I guess it would, but aren't all people born with the same abilities, and through one filter or another that as we progress through the sociological changes from infant to child, child to teenager, teenager to adult, adult to senior, that at different points in our life we all start filtering out what society says doesn't exist?
I believe so. I believe that everybody is born with a certain something. Whether you want to call it a gift, an ability, whatever. Everybody is born with something. But I also believe that people have different levels of that knowledge, and what you nurture, you gain more of. And, a lot of society tells you not to believe certain things.
Yeah, that's right.
And eventually you don't, because, it's kind of, you're force-fed through a church or through a teacher or through a parent. This is bad. You shouldn't know this. You shouldn't learn this. You don't dabble in this.
I think
so
a
lot of people don't.
I think one of the biggest sins that happens to a child is the amount of lies they are told in their most, informative years. For example, the child goes to school. He is immersed into a world of fantasy. You've got the cow jumping over the moon. You've got this lady who lives in a shoe with all her children. Cows talk. You've got the Easter Bunny. You've got you've got leprechauns. You've got fairies. And the list goes on and on and on. And then, just as you get to the point that all this is starting to make sense to you,
you're not allowed to believe that.
That's right. They pull the carpet right from underneath you. And if that doesn't screw up a child, I don't know what does, because right then and there, you've taken their world, crushed it, and proved to them beyond a shadow of a doubt that you've lied.
Well, yeah, that's a great way to start a child out. And
yeah.
That the adult that somebody you're supposed to trust in your life just told you all these lies. Oh, we're just kidding. So now this is the way it's really supposed to be. And then in many cases, they tell you more fabrications.
Yeah.
So there you are. That can really mess up a kid. And then as you get older, and then particularly growing up the way that I did with a Roman Catholic father and a Native American mother, and then you find out that you're actually getting your darker elements from your Roman Catholic father, that, many of his family denied their paranormal abilities. Can you imagine my confusion?
I can sympathize with you. I truly can, because in any philosophy, and I include religion in philosophy, it is based on belief. It's not based on fact. It's based on belief, because if it was based on fact, it wouldn't be a philosophy. So here you have all these different elements of, let's use the mother of all, Catholicism and the Bible. You've got all these do's and don'ts. You've got a lot of what word do I use here so I don't shoot my foot off in my mouth?
Oh, go ahead and shoot it off.
Oh, okay. You've got a group of men who don't want women to be involved except to have children. It's okay for the Virgin Mary to give birth to Christ, and but wait a second, he's the Son of God, is he? It's a matter of belief.
Absolutely.
Once again, this is very controlling, and it's a business, because I look at Catholicism in a very practical, business-like way. You've got the Vatican, which is the corporate headquarters of, let's call it, Catholicism, Inc. You have the Pope, who is the chairman and CEO of the board. All the board directors are the cardinals. And all the shareholders are the people who go to church each and every Sunday and are dictated to give 10% of what they've made. Now
you know why I don't go to...
that makes two of us, sweetie. That makes two of us. You know, I think that the people, because I believe it's we the people, not I the person, the people should band together and say, you know what? Since we are shareholders of this corporation called Catholicism, Inc., we're disbanding it. Sell the assets, give the money to the poor, the needy, get rid of all the artwork, get rid of all the property that is owned by the church. Give it to those who you were supposed to be raising it for. That's what I would do.
That would be the perfect world. Will never happen.
I know that. But we can learn from the world's errors, disasters. But we don't seem to learn a lot, do we?
We really don't. We really don't. I have learned as I've researched other belief systems and religions that, and I'm going to shoot my foot off so that we can both have one foot.
Okay. I've got crutches.
Are we good there?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I truly believe that Christianity as a whole is very self-serving. Meaning that they're going to do what they're going to do to get whatever they can to support the church, because that's where everybody's got to gather, because you just can't gather in your own homes or within yourself.
Well, plus now they have to raise a lot of money to move all the pedophile priests around as well. Let's not forget that.
Oh, okay. You said that, I didn't, but I'm gonna just nod.
Okay.
Okay.
So much for shooting your foot off.
My other foot. Now I'm like totally footless.
Oh, we can shoot our legs off and bum around.
Oh my God, this is just, it's crazy. But I never felt comfortable. And in my book, and we can speak about that later.
Sure,
but in my book, I even wrote about that, on how everything just didn't mesh well with me. I felt dirty when I was in church.
Oh God, yeah.
Many of my friends would say, "Oh, come to church, and we'll hang out on a Sunday." I did that more or less just to get out of the house. And the minute I got in there and sat down and everything started, I wanted to just claw my way out. It just felt so heavy and dogmatic, and just everything that I didn't want to be, feel, or see was there.
I was told by the minister of the church. Well, my mother received a phone call because we started going to, I think it was called Bible school or Bible class on a Saturday.
Ugh.
Yeah. My mother got a phone call from the minister saying that I was the son of Satan, that I was not welcome back.
Nice.
Do you know why?
What did you do?
I asked questions that made no sense to me. For example, you have Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. One brother kills the other brother, yet in the Bible it tells you that God put his mark on the forehead so that others would know. Well, just let's take a look at this. Adam and Eve already knew, so who were these other people? But then it says he crossed the desert, crossed the mountains to a town where he laid with his wife. My question was, where the hell did they come from?
You're not allowed to think that way.
But why not?
Because then that messes up their whole deal. They didn't think this out all the way. So now you're messing it up because now they don't have these answers. So yes, that you should be banned from church.
And then, you've got thou shalt not kill, right? One of the 10 Commandments. And I think the 10 Commandments were written at a time where There was supposed to be some law and order in society, and society was lacking that at the time, and this was an attempt to incorporate that. Hats off. Great try.
Yeah.
If Thou Shalt Not Kill is written by God, the Grand Poobah of Catholicism, Inc., the founder, as a matter of fact, his pictures all over the place, how can he get away with destroying every living thing on this planet except Noah, his family, and what was in the ark? How did he get away with killing all the people in Sodom and Gomorrah? How did he get away with killing all the people as they crossed out of the Egyptians that were following Moses and crew when the waters came in? And there are so many examples of this throughout biblical times, and yet nobody challenges that. Now,
no, you're not supposed to.
Are you old enough to be a mom?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right, I'm a dad. I've got grandchildren. We have 6 children, 7 grandchildren. I love them dearly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they get on my nerves, but I still love them dearly. I could not imagine doing to my children what God the Father has done to his children.
Well, see, this is where I get very, for lack of a better word, heated.
Mm-hmm.
I had a discussion with a Catholic exorcist.
Right.
Okay. And when I was talking with him, all he could throw at me was, "It is written, it is written, it is written." And it made me so mad and so incensed because what he wasn't getting was, I don't buy your Bible. I don't, I read it. Mm-hmm. Things don't mesh time-wise, geographically.
Yeah.
Nothing meshes correctly. And so I have a real hard time with that. And then again, he says, "But it is written." And finally, I just kind of lost my mind. And I just said, what part of I don't believe all of the Bible, especially, certain areas I don't believe at all. And how dare you tell me not to dabble in magics when you're the guy holding the book that talks about the burning bush and serpents into staffs and the parting of the seas,
raising
and
of the
water
dead,
into wine.
Raising of the dead, a virgin birth, and the list goes on and on and on. I love that. That is so
How
true.
can you deny magics then? And how can you tell me magics are bad when your book is full of magic?
Kimmi, you and I have to take a commercial break. So great having you on the show. Please stand by. Exonation, KJ Belanger is our guest this hour. www.kimmijay.webs.com. That's KIMMIJAE.webs.com. And KJ and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. By the way, Craig, if the Pope calls again, I'm not in. Good real estate websites are not just about showing listings, but offering visitors valuable information about neighborhoods, market statistics, tips, and personal insights. Luckily, you will find that on Roost, but you won't on many other real estate websites in Budapest. That's why we created Roost. Roost is a website with tailored results for the foreign investor, curated by Hungarian-loving expats who found their home abroad and decided to roost in Budapest. Let Roost help you get started on the right foot. Whether you intend to live, work, play, retire, or simply invest abroad, Roost offers all types of properties in Budapest, from affordable studios to luxury homes. From neighborhood insights like where to grab a great coffee or how to buy property, our team of local experts can answer your questions and speak to the direct concerns of a foreign investor. Buying foreign property is an exciting and complex adventure. It can also be very time-consuming and costly if you don't have the best information and resources at hand. Roost provides professional real estate services and assistance to an international clientele of foreign property investors and rental apartment owners in Budapest. For more information on Roost, visit their website at www.roost.co. That's www.rooste.co. The ability to access the knowledge of the universe is much easier for us to access than we may believe. Brad Johnson, conscious matrix communicator, is one of these unique individuals who is able to access a strong connection to the universal mind. Through his connection, Brad has assisted thousands of clients from all over the world through natural intuitive assistance. The intuitive information received is vast, covering a wide range of subjects. Brad's innate ability includes being able to access one's own universal matrix to help them realize their potential to create a life of profound greatness. One-on-one private sessions with Brad Johnson are available to anyone from around the world. Brad is also a proficiently trained psychic, Akashic Records reader, an online spiritual teacher, founder of his own unique and powerful healing system, Body Regeneration Healing, as well as a professional conscious channeler in communication with his own higher self-consciousness known as Adronis. For more information or to book a service appointment with Brad Johnson, visit his website at www.consciousmatrix.com. That's www.consciousmatrix.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're a pumpkin.
I was a pumpkin, a big orange pumpkin.
A big orange pumpkin. And were there a lot of children out there?
Not so much.
No? Did you get a lot of candy?
Yeah, I got a lot of candy. Mommy's eating all the chocolate bars.
Well, tell Mommy that's your candy, honey.
Okay.
Tell her.
Stop eating all my chocolate bars, Mommy. Daddy's sick.
Hi, this is Ken Elliott. When I'm floating around the universe, I always try to tune in to Rob McConnell.
Hey, ho there, Twinkie Frog on Sesame Street. When I want to find out what's going on with UFOs or ghosts, I listen to the X-Zone with Rob McConnell.
This is Les Corrigan from Target Internet Development. You're listening to Rob McConnell on the X-Zone Radio Show.
This is John Hogue, prophecy scholar, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X-Zone.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. KJ Belanger is our special guest. She is an organic solitary witch, and her website is Kimmi Jae Kimmijae.webs.com. That's KIMMIJAE.webs.com. Kimmi, great having you with us tonight. Love the conversation. Love the way you think. And it's nice to know that I have a fellow in this world who doesn't mind shooting their foot off.
No, you have to once in a while. Take a risk.
Hey, listen, I've got to ask you something. What do you think about Donald Trump?
I think that he has some very, very good points.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I also think that he is not in it to win it. I think he's in it to say what everybody else is kind of thinking but afraid to say. I think he's here more or less just to put it out there to make everybody think without really an expectation of actually winning.
You know, I agree with you 100%. He's stirring the pot. No two ways about it. He must be a witch. He must use society as part of his cauldron.
You never know.
Yeah. What kind of spells do you use, or what kind of incantations or affirmations would you use?
Now here's the thing. Everybody expects you to have like this big spell book that you open up like you see on Charmed, you know, and everything's written down and everything. I create my spells or my rituals as I feel I need to for whatever I'm trying to manifest. I will sit down and I will make my own little kitschy little rhyme or something that, you know, entails what needs to get done. And I simply do that. I like to do a lot of crystal work and candle magic. Those are the two that just really do it for me. I used to be really heavy into candle magic, and then I started to get more into crystals as some of my associates, let's say, kind of gave me some, or, you know, we would go out and get some and everything. And I'm like, I'm really digging these crystals. Sure. So now I do a lot with crystals, but I don't adhere to any kind of, you know, haiku writing, anything. And actually a lot of it's off the top of my head as I'm in the moment.
You know what? That means when it's off the top of your head, it's right from the heart. So how can it be wrong?
Oh, exactly. And a lot of these people I'm finding that are starting to get into Wiccan or, you know, they're trying to find out if they're a natural witch or, you know, pretty much any kind of esoteric belief system. You know, they get wrapped up in a lot of the dogma that they're not doing it right, or somebody told them, no, don't do it that way. And I always say, hey, if it feels right in your heart, it's right.
Yeah, if it floats your boat, away you go.
There you go.
You know, you and I were talking about Christianity before in the Bible. When it comes to Christmas traditions, the Christmas tree, the Yule log, and the list goes on and on and on, are pagan rituals.
Absolutely. Yeah. Almost everything we celebrate is pagan based.
And of course, we know for a fact that Christ wasn't born on December the 25th. If you look at the astronomy based on what's written in the Bible and, you know, how the shepherds had their sheep in the fields, it's not Christmas. It's more or less April or May. However, I see it as a big marketing ploy by the Christians to try and get as many pagans over to this new religion that they could by having their day, 4 days after the winter solstice.
They actually took a lot, you know, like we have Candlemas, they have Christmas, you know, we have Ostara, they got Easter, you know, and even the children game set we play, like Ring Around the Rosie, pagan, you know, Dancing Around the Maypole, pagan. You know, it's if you do your research, and I guess a lot of people don't, they just take it for what it is or what they're told. Start researching, you know, not believing everything you hear, and if you research, your mind's gonna be blown.
I guess there's the great what if factor. What if I research it and it's wrong? Am I going to burn in hell throughout eternity? Now, does that make sense that someone would create you in your own image, in his own likeness, and then burn you for eternity in the sulfur baths of hell?
You know, I don't want to know a God like that.
Bingo.
I really don't.
That's the whole thing.
If that's what it takes for me to, you know, end up in quote unquote heaven, it's like that's a lot. That's a sad life to live.
I believe that hell is here on earth. We create our own hell, sure. What does your family say about your being a organic solitary witch?
I get some that I think nervously mock me, because they don't want to say, yes, I believe you, because then I'm going against my Christianity. And, so they do kind of the mocking thing, kind of like jokes and gestures and things like that. I get like, you're going to turn me into a toad and, whatever, and I get irritated and annoyed with your ignorance. And then I have family members that are also natural witches that have told me so. And we're kind of our own little niche, where we talk, and it's great because they were afraid to talk until I came out and said, yes, this is what I am. And now I have certain family members coming to me going like, thank God somebody came out and said, yes, I am.
Yeah.
And so am I, and that was great. And then I got family members that are actually a little scared and maybe a little fearful for me. They want to make sure, are you sure you're doing the right thing? And I'm like, we'll never know until D-Day comes what the absolute answer is. So meanwhile, I'm going to do me the way I need to do. And if you need to do it another way, that's fine. And I'm going to respect that, but please respect me as well.
Isn't it possible that the reason why they mock and make fun of is because they really don't understand? And I think that this applies to all religions these days, and the way we treat other people, whether it's in school, whether it's in the office, or whether it's in the church or at social gatherings. I think it's major because of a lack of respect, understanding of different cultures, of different ethnicities, of different religions. Come on, gang. We're all part of the same tree.
Well, I think they also get nervous when I say that I am friends with Satanists and vampires. They go, vampires don't exist. There actually is a culture of people that do live that way, and it is their religion and their belief system, and they're actually pretty cool people. And I know Satanists, and Satanists aren't what you think they are either, and they say, oh, yes, they do this and this. No, they actually don't.
Yeah.
And there's different types of Satanists, and there's different types of vampires, and there's different types of witches, just like there's different types of Christians.
Exactly. There's good and bad in every sociological grouping.
Every single one.
You're not going to get away from it. But for a person to have to hide in the closet because of what they believe in, doesn't that say that society is two-faced?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how would you see us, and I mean us as members of this world, how can we change that? How can we say to people who are afraid and that stay in the closet because they're afraid of retribution, they're afraid of being mocked, they're afraid of being bullied. How can we say, you know what? Come on out. Trust us. Yes, you're going to find people who are going to mock you. You're going to find people who are going to make fun of you, but those are the people who make fun of everyone and mock everyone.
Right. And how hypocritical is that?
Pretty bad.
That's a good Christian. Mock something that you don't understand, don't care to understand. And you are actually so fearful that if you just make fun of it, it'll go away. It's not going to go away.
That is so true. That is so true. So what can we do? What can we do as a human race to try and bring this to an end so that we can all live in harmony? Because the way it is now, religion, in my opinion, is one of the biggest problems causing the most friction in the world today.
It is. And a few years ago, I did a radio show, much like yours, and I brought people on of different cultures to dispel these myths, to say, here is a vampire.
Yep.
And he's not a bad guy. Let's talk with him about normal things and get his, and we did that. We had normal conversations. It wasn't always about, what do you do? And, do you drink blood? It wasn't like that. We had normal conversations and normal thoughts, and, people got to know them as a person. And that was awesome. So then, okay, let's bring on a Satanist.
Yeah.
Let's bring on, a Levian. And so I brought on a Levian, and I got there, and, and people started to realize, and my show went on for, 2 years, and I thought we were making some headway, but, the minute I stopped doing my radio show and I started, kind of getting back in the norm of the mix and talking to people on Facebook, social media, I realized that there's so much more work to be done. And, I don't know if we're ever going to come to a point where everybody accepts everybody. So I guess my best advice would be just be the best at what you do to show people that, whether you're a vampire, a Christian, a Therian, whatever you are, just show them that you're not the Hollywood stereotypical facade of what they want to think you are.
It's pretty bad when we allow a land of make-believe to dictate to us what we should believe. And why are we so gullible?
I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure that out myself for forever. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to, ask somebody a question without a preconceived notion and listen to their answer. And take that as their truth. And then if you don't buy it, that's fine. But understand that that's their truth.
I would have believed by now that with the internet, all the information that is there, that things would start changing sociologically, but they're not.
They're really not.
They're really not. And then I realized a long time ago that the internet is the greatest septic tank that man has ever created because there's more crap in it than there is truth.
And I think that people use it kind of like a bullying mechanism. It's like I can be this person that I kind of want nobody to know who I really am, so I will just create this, land of crazy.
Sure.
And I get so annoyed with people because it's like, why do you have to bully? Why do you have to tell people they're wrong? Why can't you just be happy with you and just be the best person you can be?
And give support to the person who's trying to accomplish something. There's so much animosity. There's so much stupidity. Like, I'm on Facebook, and I really don't care what the carrot cake that you made looks like. I really don't. So why put a picture of it? Are you that starved for attention that you want to get the approval of people that you know online? What is wrong with this picture?
I think people are bored. I really do. I think it's just boredom. It's like, here I'm sitting in my living room at 4 p.m, let me post, whatever. It's sheer boredom. So, just like the bored little kid in school, let me pick a certain type of person. I've gotten death threats. I have done nothing to this person. I don't know this person. But just being what I am and they don't like it, I get death threats.
I've had a number of death threats myself doing this show, and you can't get away from it. When you get a death threat, you've got your finger on a nerve somewhere. And I believe, especially in my case, doing this show for 24 years, it's because I'm allowing people to talk. I am giving people the opportunity of expressing themselves, to better acquainting themselves with the world, like you tonight.
I don't think if you're not rattling a cage, you're not doing your job well.
Exactly.
So just keep on rattling those cages then.
Exactly.
So, when people stop the death threats and people stop reacting to you, then you're done, and then it's time to close up shop.
What would you like to tell someone or members of the X-Zone Nation tonight who are listening who have a belief that they would like to pursue witchcraft or any other esoteric culture? What would you like them to know?
I guess what I would tell them, first of all, don't expect everything to happen in an afternoon, in a in a day, in a week, in a month, even in years. Building your true path is a forever going journey. You're never going to get to the end. You're never going to know it all. So don't expect to know it all and to tell everybody everything you know, because it's not your job to tell people how to go their way, what they're supposed to learn. All you can do is give a little bit of guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you start doing this, and I see this also on social media, somebody will put up a Facebook or something and say they're the high priestess of whatever land, and then if you don't do exactly as they say, they come down on you hard. Those are the people you should walk away from. Those are the people that you should say, I'm out, because they're creating what they want you to be. And so always be yourself. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And if somebody's telling you that you're wrong, don't sit there and argue with them. Just throw your hands up and say, I'm out. And just be authentic to yourself.
As William Shakespeare said many, many years ago, to thine own self be true.
There you go.
That says it all. Finally, what's on the horizon for you as a witch and as an author?
Well, the last 8 months of my life has been really hard and a learning curve for me. I've been going through a lot of chaos and mayhem, with a lot of different things. So my future for me, as of, the recent, is looking very positive. I'm feeling strong again. I'm getting back to writing. I want to put out, I have a couple other books going right now, and they're about, not very far along. So I hope to get those both out, or at least one by spring. I also plan on opening an online store.
Excellent.
Not just for witchcraft. It's going to be more or less just a spiritual thing. I've got a lot of people that are going to collaborate with me. Hopefully I'll have a standalone store within the next year and a half that's going to be offering classes, meditation. I have a very dear friend that has just got to be a Reiki master. I hope that she will come with me in my venture, and, we're just going to write books, and we're just going to try to do good and put the knowledge out there for people, and, have people open their minds a little bit and just, stop and smell the roses.
This is something we all need to do, is stop and smell the roses, because we're moving at such a fast pace each and every day that we're missing so much in our lives. And I don't know about you, but I find time just zips right by these days.
This summer has flown.
Oh, big time.
Just gone.
Yeah. Speaking about gone, unfortunately, we've come to the end of this hour for tonight, KJ, but I'd love to have you back on in the future. I wish you much success.
Thank you. I had a blast.
Well, I had a great time too, my new friend. Let our listeners know how they can find out more about you, Kimmi.
Well, I just opened a new email. So if anybody wants to drop me a line, it's going to be at octoberwitchkj@gmail.com. And I would love, to answer any questions anybody has. If they want to be, connected to a psychic or, anybody in the metaphysical world, if they have a question, drop me a line and I'll connect you to the right people. So you're not out there aimlessly, talking to people you probably shouldn't be talking to.
Aimlessly wandering in the desert.
It happens more than you know.
I couldn't help that one. KJ, thanks so much for joining us, and I look forward to the next time, like I said, you join us back here in the X Zone. We'll have to do it around Halloween.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
You've got it. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much.
My great pleasure. X Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been KJ Belanger. What a sweetheart. She is an organic solitary witch, and her website is kimmijae.webs.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone. After all, this is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on the Starcom Radio Network. My name is Rob McConnell. I'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away.